Welcome back to the Virgo channel. My name is Laura. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Anything that you need to know of any importance to the channel, you can find in the description box, such as how to enter into winning a free psychic reading with me. All you have to do is like the video, subscribe to the channel, and write the magic word in the comment bar. Now, if you're not a Virgo, you can check out my other card placements, which is for all zodiacs, and that's my Psychic Soul Healer channel, and you can find that link in the description box. You can also find my website link if you're looking to book a personal reading with me outside the channel, and if you're looking to join very reasonable Psychic Soul Healer coaching, which is inner child coaching, shadow coaching, and reparenting coaching all in one. And it includes breath work and meditation to help recondition your nervous system, because that's what happens when we have trauma. Now, if you're new to my channel, I always open up every reading looking at the spiritual energies, whether it's on this channel or my other channel. This channel happens to be just for Virgos. However, cross watchers are more than welcome to sit in and watch, because know that energy can be, reversed, because energy is fluid. So it's up to you to interpret the message as it best resonates for you. Now, also know if I'm talking about male or a female, if a king comes up or a queen comes up, if I happen to use tarot, we're not actually talking about male or female. We're talking about male qualities and female qualities. That's normally what we're talking about. There are characteristics, there are gifts, if you will, that comes from being a human being, and the human being is both made up of male and female, right? Because God made us in its image, which is male and female. It's the universal energy, and it's only of the highest character traits which are derived from unconditional love. So when we're talking about female traits, we may say intuitive, sensitive, emotional, passionate, creative. We're talking about male traits, we might be talking about grounded, logical, linear, fact, fire element, opposed to water element. Okay, so just to get a little bit of energy for you to understand. Okay, now, like I said, I'm going to always open up the reading looking at the spiritual energies, and I use my deck, the Psychic Soul Healer deck. And as I was saying, if you wanted to enter into winning a free reading with me, you have to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and write the magic word in your comment bar. And that word is going to be self-denying today. And that is always how we open up the reading, okay? So I look at the spiritual energies first, and that's going to let us know what the spiritual energy is. Everything happens in the spiritual realm long before it happens in the physical realm. So the spiritual realm is of the mind. It's a lot of times psychological and emotional. And our spiritual blocks are, again, the energy of the mind and our emotions. So when that energy doesn't move in our body, it's felt as tension and stress. If that energy stays in the body, it's what becomes our energy vibration. Now, again, karmic themes will play out that resonate with that energy. So if we're in a place of self-denying, we're actually in a place where we're obviously not being fulfilled, because it's not about depriving ourselves of anything. Because I'm feeling like the energy here is it's giving to everybody else except for yourself. Now, I don't know whether this is you or a person that you're connected to, but it's, again, the energy is that someone is doing for everyone else. Now, why does someone do for everyone else and not for themselves? It's usually guilt. It's usually felt out of obligation, but guilt, because no one for long periods of time is supposed to deny themselves. So I'm feeling like someone is like punishing themselves. Someone is feels like it. Well, it's funny because whenever I just forget to take this card out, I always keep it in almost as an extra layer to the reading, right? Like it gives us another dimension. And as you can see, there's nothing on this card. It's like the Joker card. And so I would say that the reason why someone is denying themselves is because they don't really know who they are. They don't really know where they're going, right? It's easy if we, again, don't have a destination, don't have a real passion. It's almost like, well, I'm not doing anything anyway, so I'm going to do for everyone else. And that actually gives me purpose. That makes me feel as good. It's almost like a unhealed healer. It's energy here. Someone that's denying because they feel guilty, but it's masked with the mask of, well, I'm helping, so I'm actually doing the right thing, so I'm a good person. So this is how people get tricked out of doing their own healing. No one's supposed to walk around with not knowing who they are. Quantum Cohen. So this is the energy of the universe. And I believe that this person is very intuitive. It's not that they're not. They're not listening to their intuition. They're not listening to it because it's, again, that would make them eventually change things in their life. So, which tells me that they're surrounded by people or a person that's making them do that. Now, again, this could be you. Take the energy as it resonates. Obscurity, by keeping a person, like whenever a person's in self-denying, obviously they don't know who they are. Their perception is that they don't have enough. They don't have enough. They aren't enough. And that would be because they don't really, their identity, who they perceive that they are, is built on denying themselves. If we're denying ourselves, we don't really know who we are. It's because we haven't developed enough of who we are. And to develop yourself, that's find who you are. Have a love affair with yourself. I feel like this person didn't do that. This person probably came from a home that they were very responsible. And in the fact that they were overly responsible, and it could be because they watched their mother or father go through a difficult time. Maybe the parents got divorced, maybe someone died. It doesn't really matter what the issue was. However, they were told to be the fixer, the healer, again, and it's almost comfortable for them to be in a place of self-denying. They don't even realize that anything was missing, to be honest with you, until they've been living so long this way that they are starting to feel like there's nothing, that there's a lack, limitation. So what's good is it's getting to be uncomfortable. However, it's also they're starting to feel very uncomfortable, but it's also keeping them frozen in that perception, because it's like, well, if I don't have enough, then I have to stay here until I have enough. So they're starting to figure out they most likely will never have enough to feel comfortable to leave, because there's an emptiness inside. They're not leaving towards anything. So it's safer to stay where it's uncomfortable, but you know what it is. It's the devil, opposed to venturing out into new territory when you don't really know who you are. And if you don't know who you are, then you're either looking at yourself as defective, that there's something wrong with you, or that you're a bad person, or again, which would keep you binded to denying yourself. So this is the energy here. And now you may say, well, why am I pulling someone into my life like this? And it could be because at one time you had suffered from the same wounds. And so you get to see progression. And then there's also that spirit brings people into your life, not always for your benefit solely, but for the other person, that they see that you live differently. again, if they're attached to you somehow, we don't know until we do more of the reading. But I look at the energy first, because if this person, if you're connected to a person that was breadcrumbing you, well, understand it's because they had no more energy to give to you if they're self-denying and giving to everyone else that's already in their life. They also can't give to you if they don't know who they are, and if they don't feel like they have enough to give. So those are the reasons why. So, I mean, I don't know whether that was the case, but we're going to look and see what the hidden truths are, and then I'll I want to see what the hidden truths are, whether or not the person that you're connected to, whether or not they were coming from a truthful place, like an honest place, or whether or not they're not healed at all, and their intention was just to get over. I'm going to stay connected to these people, that even though I've grown out of them and I don't really want to deny myself anymore, I could live this way, and then just use other people, or whether or not they met you and you're like, again, a catalyst to make them change, or whether or not you're actually connected to them, and it, like, where you're together with them and they feel like they're denying themselves because they're with you. We're going to see that depending on how the story plays out. I like to look at spiritual energies first for the reasons that I said before. I wonder if you are happy without me. So you are not with them, which is what I felt. You are not the person that they're with. They're self-denying themselves from you. I want to tell you how I feel. They feel really horrible because that they held back, but they held back because they weren't comfortable with who they are. They felt obligated to stay in a connection with someone else, is what I'm feeling. And possibly because they have children or they had other obligations together. I know I was a distraction from your pain. I feel like this is how you feel. But there's a little bit of mirroring energy. I feel like both you and your person, it was never really the right time to be with each other. Though there was always this connection. And so I'm feeling as if they need to do a lot of healing work on themselves, and they needed to do it because they were, self-denying themselves. Being in a connection that has long been over is what I'm feeling. And I know that because they feel like empty. They feel like that they're not enough. They feel obscurity. They feel empty. When we're with the right partner and we're vibing high, we're interactive in life. We get ideas about what we want to do with our life. This person, again, someone was using them as a workhorse, I'm feeling like. So they were going to work and coming home making a lot of money, and everyone was benefiting except for them. And so you were a distraction from their pain. However, I believe that either you were in a connection, or you were just by yourself, or you would just, again, your person believes that they were a distraction from the fact that of your own limitations of why, again, whatever was going on in your life. So, and I feel that too, that you were the mirror. I lost myself for a while. And so I feel like this person, having to confront the issues of, if they leave this, connection that they're in and stop being the workhorse for everyone else, like, what is that going to do, to everyone else? I feel like for a while they lost themselves in the guilt, in the feeling obligated, and also the trauma of, having to change their entire life and leave into nothing. Sometimes it's very comfortable to stay with the devil, it's more comfortable to stay where you're at, is what I'm feeling, is how they lost themselves. So they didn't want to make a decision. They were stuck for a very long time in in just what might happen, in the guilt, in the coulda, woulda, shouldas, in how they handled things with you and how they handled things with the person that they're with, how the situation got to the way that it is. And it's because they have, you know, been self-denying themselves for a long time. And you can only fake that for so long and logic with yourself for so long. You feel like, again, your person tried to logic with themselves why they needed to stay in this connection that was long over. We will be together again. So that, again, at the undeep inside, they can feel that spiritual connection still. I feel like they hold on to that because they that they have to make so many changes in their life and they're afraid. And so if they came towards you now, and you said no, it would almost be devastating and that they wouldn't have the courage to leave. They want to leave, but it's almost like you're on the other side of the rainbow is what I feel like. So even though they haven't talked to you and they've held back, the reason why is because it's almost like they wouldn't be able to take the rejection is what I'm feeling, because they're in a situation that they don't want to be in because they're not getting anything. After a while, they feel smothered. They feel like I said, empty. They're not like, because they're not growing. They're just staying stagnant because someone is draining them. I feel like other people are draining them. I don't know whether it's other people in the family. I don't know whether it's people they have a business with. I don't know what it is, but money is definitely what has kept the couple together. And I feel like your person was living like a sham. They were in a connection with someone that the relationship was over a long time ago. It's just one of those for convenience. You inspire me in so many ways. Like I said, I feel like you're different from them. And so you're inspiring them to move and change their life. Like moving into something that they don't know is they're beginning to realize is better than staying in a place that they don't like. I am faced with constant reminders of you because, again, I feel like for a long time that they didn't want to face this situation. Obviously, it would have been easier to stay with a karmic, with someone that they don't have any feelings for anymore. But financially, everyone does okay. It's easier to stay, like I said, in a place where with the devil, than venture into like uncertain waters, especially if you don't know who you are. However, you can't turn love on and off. You can't shut that spiritual connection on or off. And that's the truth of it. So even though they feel that they're not enough and obscurity is what held them back, they really feel that more being in the connection that they're in now. And I feel like they had to like walk away from the connection with you in order to see that. And I feel that they are feel bad about the way that they went about ending this. I don't really feel like they ever ended anything with you. I kind of feel like they just kind of like walked away, like didn't say anything, kind of left it open-ended purposely because I always thought that they were going to come back. The problem is I feel like they thought that they would get to it whenever they got to it. So they were never really thinking about your feelings. And this is because, like I said, when we don't know who we are and we're, there's pieces of us that we don't know who we are and we feel that we have to self-deny ourselves to keep our life working because we don't know what else to do, then we're kind of more in a survival perspective. And when we're in a survival point of mind, we're in a fear state of consciousness. We're not really thinking about anyone else. Again, we're thinking about ourselves. And I feel like this was very triggering for your person because, again, they have to walk away from everything that they built with this karmic. And this karmic is going to take full advantage of that, full advantage. That's why it has stayed together for as long as it has. It's just become so toxic now because there's no love. It's held on by things. So again, now that they walked away from you because they thought that they could live without love, they see you everywhere, they feel you everywhere, they imagine you everywhere. But that's because they truly have feelings. They thought that they could shut it off. I can't stand the thought of you with someone else. So it's again, their own jealousy is and that's why they are going to come back, is what I'm feeling. They're going to come back because they feel bad. They're miserable where they are. They can't shut this off. They try to look, and they zoned out. They didn't want to face it. I feel like they might have even drank a lot to escape their situations. They can't. You're always on their mind. And that's another reason why they didn't could tell you anything about their situation. I feel like they're embarrassed. I feel like they're embarrassed of their situation. Twin flame journey. Now, there's nothing like that passion that's going to transmute those wounds, right? I mean, when we have pain, again, when we again are in a place where we need healing, clearly, this person that's, again, whether that's you or them, I'm going to say it's them to keep the story straight. But no, whoever's in that space of self-denying, they are miserable. And it's because that relationship should have been over a long time ago. There's no love there. And you know, the power of money and the power of, you know, our needs, our survival needs, especially if at any time we had issues like with money, or if we grew up in a family that struggled with money, that could be a big fear. So I feel like, you know, this karmic had a lot of leverage on your person because they knew. And so it was just easier. I feel like many times they tried to leave, and they you know, you were the closest one that they left for. And now what they've realized is they, even though it came close, it never did. And now that they can't, because they didn't take that opportunity, they didn't take that chance, they can't shut it off. They can't. And then that's because love can't be manipulated, it can't be broken, it can't be, it just is. It transcends all time and space. So again, this person is your twin flame, which trumps the karmic. But understand, that's why the karmic doesn't understand, because they've done everything and everything for so many years to keep this together, and not really for the right reasons. But they've, you know the power of, money, and the power of, losing all your assets. So, and they just can't believe that, your person is still, that there's someone there. They may not know that it's you, but they can feel, and they know that someone's there, that your person's holding on to somebody, and it's driving that karmic crazy. Because understand, the more that you hold back, the more that they're like your own imagination of you being with someone else, because you cut communication off, it's driving them crazy. So, and then on top of it, hating where they are, they only have time to ruminate. And that's why they feel the regret of lying. They feel the regret now because you are so much further away than you've ever been before, Virgo. So I'm feeling like they're afraid, but they plan on coming back. Now, I'm curious, what do you plan on doing? Because I can understand how you felt. I'm just curious, how did they trigger you? How did they trigger you? What are your triggers from this situation? Obviously, I would say abandonment, but I'm just curious if they did anything else. unsafe. I felt I could no longer feel safe with you. I am scared of you. I feel like you don't trust them because they were in, they were out. They didn't show you who they truly are. So there's a sense of this person would have to earn their way to come back into your life. You don't feel safe mainly because emotionally you don't feel safe. And that's because when it's a twin flame journey too, it's like that person feels like home. They're so close to you. The thought of them betraying cuts almost like deeper when they betray, because it's again, that person feels so much like home. And when you're together, everything is great. So you can't even fathom them doing that, but it has nothing to do with you. It's how they're treating themselves. And this is what is kind of the sad part of it, because it's not that the person doesn't have feelings for you. I want to work things out. So I feel like you want to work things out too, even though you feel that, like, again, unsafe. I feel like it's more like they would need to work their way. They would need to prove it to you. Because again, you can't just shut off a twin flame relationship. However, if you don't heal this situation, what'll happen is it'll fester and be next every time you get into a fight, it'll come up again. So because again, they didn't really handle this situation right. You can understand why they did what they did. I feel like you guys met at the wrong time. Met at the wrong time. They always knew that you were going to be with them. They were going to be with you. There was always that familiarity. I think for a long time it stayed in daydream land. They never had a plan. It was based more on passion. But, you know, they went, I feel like they were like really in the process of like leaving that karmic. I don't know why, what happened to the point that they didn't follow through with it, or if they followed through with it, they feel like obligated to help the karmic out, but they've stayed in this place. I feel like the karmic is very manipulative. Like I said, tries to make it like they need help all the time, and before they knew it, they were right back in the same place that they were before. So I'm sorry for leaving you hanging there. No excuse for my actions. I want to reconcile with you. So it's again that's I feel like they met you at the wrong time. They were in the process of ending that situation, because I keep feeling that that relationship should have ended a long time ago. They felt like it was going to end a long time ago. I just feel like that karmic is very manipulative, kind of lured them back for money reasons. Your person felt obligated based on guilt, especially because they didn't have feelings, wanted to do the right thing. So in that, they got lured back in and kind of just left you hanging there. But it wasn't just because of the karmic, it was because they were going to lead to nothing. They didn't know like what direction they were going. So it was a combination of a lot of things, but you being that they have feelings for you, this twin flame connection is so strong, it's pushed them into healing themselves, into making them into a better version of themselves by figuring out what they really want, and then again realizing that they can't stay in this karmic connection. So by you walking away, really they like, this is the one thing that they're really definite on. It looks like, I can't hide my true feelings anymore. I love you and I want to spend my life with you. So it's again, I'm gonna end that there, because it's like it's redundant at this point that this person like is full of regret. They see what they did. They did. I feel like their intention was never to go back to the karmic. It was to help the karmic out, and the karmic lured them, and they got manipulated and guilted into feeling that they were supposed to deny themselves. And what they were denying themselves is the connection with you. And I feel like with you, you know that it's a twin flame. connection, that you want to work things out. You have feelings. I feel like you're upset, though, of how they handled it. So what would be the advice for Virgo? Because it's like, what do you do when a person does the wrong thing? You can understand that they do the wrong thing, but in the process of them doing the wrong thing, they hurt you. What would the universe say? Especially because then we have so many feelings of, well, do they feel comfortable to do that to me again? Why did they do that? Why were they so comfortable to do that? Why didn't they think? I mean, our brain just automatically wants these questions of ours answered. If they're my real twin flame, they're my real soulmate, how could they have done this? And how am I supposed to move past this? How am I supposed to forgive now that you created the pain, that you created the problem, that you again felt more comfortable to detach again and like just leave me hanging? Like, of course, now that you created all the damage, now you have this realization and epiphany that, that, and this is what it is. Now that they did all this, they have an epiphany that they want to be with you, Virgo, but they did all of that already. So the question is, how do we move past? Inner work. So understand, God brings me ideal situations for my inner healing. As I become aware of my weaknesses, I turn them into strength. I direct my thoughts towards the light and see the positive side of every stage of my life. Darkness turns into courage. Thus I get stronger. So what this is saying, inner work. So you have wounds from people, important people, like parents or sisters, siblings. Again, this is a general reading, so for every Virgo, it's going to be someone different, but a majority is parents that couldn't show up for you, were so bogged down with their own trauma that they couldn't give you what you needed. And so, in a way, because they didn't, you have inherited that. In a way, you actually did inherit wounds, but in a way, because you haven't integrated this trauma, you got it with a soulmate twin flame. You have someone that came into your life that didn't handle things properly. And the way that they handled them was like, acted like they didn't care. They backed away. They just left you hanging. They just, again, dropped it. So again, now there's this realization of that you're important. And like the Spirit is saying, well, how do we move past this? And what Spirit is saying is, it's not really what they did. Understand, yes, what they did bothered you, but that wound wouldn't have been able to bother you unless you had a wound there to begin with. So again, that the universe, again, same thing, brings you ideal situations for you to heal. So here's this person that there is unconditional love and that they didn't handle things correctly. And that you see that, and there was a lot of pain and they were wrong, but you can't, just the same way that this person tried to walk away from you and, detach because it was too difficult for them to actually leave, they thought. It was easier for them to stay in a place of obscurity and self-denying themselves from having a real connection. And they chose to stay in a connection that was empty. Well, and now they're suffering. Well, if you are angry and you tell this person to go take a hike and you never talk to them again, they'll be like, oh, okay, they're not going to fight for it, but they're going to come back and they're going to try, but only if you try. So if you don't try, because you're still angry, well, then you're spiting yourself and you never learned the lesson. So this is why you have got the experience, because you're being asked to do inner work, and you on forgiveness, which is, I know, like, it's like hard to do sometimes, like, again, because it's a wound that we already have, and the way that this person handled it, and so for all of that. And then there's also our own ego, which is, oh, if I take you back, are you going to do it again? Or if I take you back, what do you think, I'm hard up because I took you back? So it's all that, which is really, like you said, why you're being asked to do the inner work, because you have to learn about, again, forgiveness. Any other advice for this couple that want to make it work, but may have a hard time making it work because, again, of needing to do inner healing work? What other advice do we have for Virgo? Is there any more? Okay. When I think I've surrendered, I surrender more. So when I think I've surrendered, I surrender more. So what Spirit is saying again, surrender to what is. It's like, and what is the fact that, yes, that did happen. Again, they didn't handle things properly, but they're human. And what is that this is a divine connection. It's a twin flame connection that both people are very passionate about, that both people care about, that both people want, both try to walk away and end the relationship, but the connection's still there, because you can't break love. You can't, again, destroy it. It just is, even after, like, everything. So when we surrender, what happens is all the perceived hurts eventually fall away, and they dull, or they're not as the charge of what has happened. The emotional charge of what happened has actually dissipated somewhat. And what you see again is what's still there is love. So the Spirit is saying is just surrender to the fact that there is love. And again, when you surrender, you can go with the flow. Doesn't mean take advantage. What it means is, it's, again, find your balance. And in this, that both parties care about each other, there's going to need to be, talking, and again, where you work through the problems that you have, but being that there's love there, you'll both find your balance if you surrender your ego. And neither one of you need to, again, be right or defensive, and just surrender to what is. All right, Virgo, I'm going to leave it there, and you'll let me know whether or not you resonated with this. And if you do, please, please, please like, share, subscribe to the channel. It really helps me grow. I will talk to you guys all soon. Bye. Take care. And if you want to win that reading, don't forget to write that word in the description box. You can, again, rewind to the beginning to find out the directions again. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.